What does it mean to be loyal in a world where promises are often broken? What if loyalty could change the course of your life? This is the story of Ruth and Naomi, a powerful tale of love, sacrifice, and redemption that goes beyond time and borders. In a period of loss, Naomi and Ruth's bond becomes a shining example of what it means to commit to someone through thick and thin. This is not just a story of survival, it is one of hope, where the smallest acts of kindness bring about life-changing consequences. Welcome to Story of Grace, where we uncover the beauty of timeless stories that teach us invaluable lessons of loyalty and redemption. Let's journey through the emotional twists and turns of this inspiring tale. The beginning of a journey. Ruth and Naomi's story begins in the distant land of Moab, far from Bethlehem. Naomi, once filled with joy alongside her husband and sons, was struck by unimaginable tragedy. Her husband passed away, and soon after, both of her sons died as well. Left alone, Naomi was overwhelmed with grief. Widowhood and childlessness left her feeling empty and lost, with the life she had known slipping through her fingers. After much sorrow, Naomi decided to return to her homeland, Bethlehem, in search of solace. As she prepared for the journey, she urged her two daughters-in-law, Orpah and Ruth, to stay in Moab and build new lives. Orpah, after much thought, chose to stay, seeking her own future. Ruth, however, made a decision that would change everything. She chose to stay with Naomi, not out of obligation, but from a deep love and commitment. This was no simple decision. Ruth's loyalty to Naomi was an unwavering promise. She was willing to sacrifice her own future for the sake of a bond that transcended family. Ruth's choice set them both on a life-altering journey. A heartbreaking decision. Where you go, I will go. Where you stay, I will stay. Ruth's words to Naomi are a powerful example of loyalty. At a moment when Ruth could have chosen comfort and familiarity, she chose the harder path, one of sacrifice and uncertainty. Ruth's bond with Naomi went beyond mere obligation. It was built on trust, love, and a deep, unbreakable commitment. Naomi, in her sorrow, tried to convince Ruth to stay in Moab, urging her to start over and live a full life. But Ruth's resolve was firm. She refused to abandon Naomi. Ruth's words spoke of more than just following. They were a vow to stay with Naomi through every trial, no matter the cost. Naomi, torn by grief, could not bring herself to ask Ruth to stay behind, even though it would have been easier for Ruth to find a new life. Ruth's declaration marked the beginning of a journey that would prove that loyalty, even in the darkest times, holds the power to transform lives. Ruth's unwavering commitment. Ruth's decision to accompany Naomi was one that came with great sacrifice. She left behind not only her family and homeland, but also the potential for a future in Moab, a place where she knew the customs, the people, and the life she had built. In choosing to go with Naomi, Ruth wasn't merely fulfilling a sense of duty. She was making a conscious, heartfelt choice. This decision was born out of pure love and a commitment that went beyond mere obligation. It was a declaration of her devotion, and it spoke volumes about the kind of person she was. Ruth understood that loyalty, while noble, isn't always easy. It often requires making tough decisions, leaving behind what's comfortable, and embracing uncertainty. It's not always the convenient path, nor the one that makes immediate sense. Yet Ruth's heart knew what was right. She didn't follow Naomi out of a lack of other options. She did it because she loved her deeply. Ruth was willing to leave everything familiar, to step into the unknown for the sake of Naomi's well-being and to ensure that she was not alone in the world. Ruth's act of selflessness was not only a demonstration of extraordinary loyalty, but one that would echo through history as a testament to the power of love, sacrifice, and unwavering commitment. The return to Bethlehem. When Ruth and Naomi arrived in Bethlehem, it was not just a physical return, it was a return to the promise of God's faithfulness. The town was abuzz as Naomi, now returning with only her daughter-in-law, was recognized by the townspeople. They were shocked to see Naomi after so many years, but Naomi, with her grief heavy on her heart, didn't want sympathy. She wanted to be left alone, to mourn the loss of everything she held dear. She told the people to call her Mara, meaning bitter, for she felt that the Lord had brought her back empty. But even in her bitterness, Naomi had someone by her side. Ruth, ever faithful, went out to glean in the fields, a practice that allowed the poor and widows to gather leftover crops after the harvest. Little did she know, this humble act would lead her to meet someone who would change her life. Boaz. A redeemer emerges. Boaz, a wealthy landowner in Bethlehem, was a man of integrity. As he surveyed his fields, he noticed Ruth, a woman he didn't recognize. He was struck by her humble demeanor and hard-working nature. He had heard about her loyalty to Naomi, and it immediately piqued his interest. In a world full of distractions, Boaz was captivated by Ruth's character. He treated her with kindness and respect, offering her protection and more than enough grain to take back to Naomi. Ruth, though grateful, didn't realize the full extent of Boaz's kindness. Boaz was more than just a generous man. He was a relative of Naomi's late husband and therefore had the right to act as a kinsman redeemer. This ancient tradition allowed a relative to marry a widow and restore the family's name and property. What Boaz had started with kindness would soon blossom into a deeper bond. The Redeemer's proposal. As the harvest season came to an end, Naomi saw an opportunity for Ruth's future. She instructed her daughter-in-law to take a bold step and ask Boaz to fulfill his role as the kinsman redeemer. Ruth, though hesitant, trusted Naomi's wisdom. With courage in her heart, she went to Boaz's threshing floor one night. It was a risky move, as this was not the usual way of seeking marriage, but Ruth was willing to trust Naomi's plan. She approached Boaz and humbly asked him to redeem her and marry her. Boaz was taken aback by Ruth's boldness, but he was moved by her loyalty to Naomi and her integrity. He agreed to fulfill his role as the Redeemer, but there was one hurdle left to clear: the marriage and redemption. Boaz went to the city gate to make the redemption official. There was another relative who had the first right to redeem Naomi's land, but when he declined, Boaz was free to marry Ruth. The two were wed in a joyful celebration, marking a new beginning for both of them. Ruth and Boaz's union brought hope to a family that had suffered great loss. Naomi, who had returned to Bethlehem in bitterness, was now filled with joy as she cradled her grandson, Obed. The women of Bethlehem rejoiced, praising God for his faithfulness and for the redemption that had come into Naomi's life through Ruth's commitment. The legacy of Ruth and Naomi. Ruth and Naomi's legacy is not just one of personal redemption, but also one that impacted the course of history. Their story didn't end with the birth of Obed. Obed grew up to have a son, Jesse, who would be the father of David. And from David's line would come Jesus Christ, the Savior of the world. Ruth, a foreigner from Moab, became a part of the family tree of Christ. This shows that redemption is available to all, no matter where you come from or what your past looks like. Ruth and Naomi's story is a powerful reminder that loyalty, love, and faithfulness are not just virtues. They are the keys to redemption. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the incredible story of Ruth and Naomi. We hope you've been inspired by their unwavering loyalty and the power of redemption. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to subscribe to Story of Grace like this video and share it with others who need to hear this message of hope. Your support means the world to us, and we can't wait to share more stories of love, faith, and redemption with you. Until next time, keep the faith, and remember that true loyalty always leads to redemption.